Actually, I'm going to start with Billy, because one of, as I think Jane said, Jane and I and the others in that class were the first Russian class he started with in 1969. And we could tell that we were sort of pioneering together. He taught us 2 sentences, one of which has never left my head in all these years. It has to do with you. No, Milaya Dama Jena Uchitel, which, as the Russian speakers would know, it translates to?
The beautiful lady is the wife of the teacher.
Right, that's you. Now, why he taught us that, I don't know. And the other one had to do with Misha on Misha? It was on the Misha was Mishnah. Do you remember what it was?
They know it over here. Misha, not Misha.
Yes. Now, why we were learning, I have no clue. But she's a lot younger than us. A lot younger than us. So, but what an experience it was just to be able to know that not only you in a class learning Russian, which was just by itself was an amazing thing, because like the principal said, no one else was doing that.
Tell them about boat talk.
I'm going to get them. I'm going to get them the story. But we were doing it together, and there was this real sense that we were just pioneering this together. So it was a teacher and students, but there was more there. It was we were working this out together, and that was fun. That was really, really fun and fascinating for a freshman who's wet behind the ears and trying to manage this language. But what I really want to say is a story. And we were also, senior year was the first trip to Russia. And God bless my parents, they found the money somehow to send me as my high school graduation present. So I went, and after 4 years of hearing about Red Square and all the history and the Kremlin, there we are in Moscow. And my best friend in high school, Tom Merritt, and we're in the hotel. And we know all about Intourist, we know all about the KGB, we know about all this stuff, and we thought, we got to go outside, because we could see Red Square and St. Basil's not far away. We got to go outside. We got to do this. And we thought, well, gee, what if someone stops us? Well, we'll just say we don't know what's going on. We left the hotel. No problem. So Tom and I left the hotel, and we walked over to Red Square, and no one stopped us. So here we are in the middle of Red Square. It was in the night, and all the lights, and it was this magical, mystical experience. And there's, St. Basil's. And while he and I were just walking around Red Square, this young man walks over to us, and we thought, okay, here it comes. Now we're going to get called to book. And this young guy wanted to talk to us. And he started engaging us in Russian, and our Russian was quite good enough to be able to engage this young guy in a conversation. He was exactly Tom's and my age. And he went, what are you guys doing here? Because we weren't any part of any tourist group. We were just by ourselves, and there was no one else with us. He's going, what are these 2 people doing here? And we started chatting and talking, and he said, look, do you want to see the real Moscow? And I'm not going to say no. I could not say no. And he said, fine, tomorrow evening around the same time, meet us in this hotel, in the park near the hotel. And as we were leaving, I turned to Tom and I said, this park is named Gorky Park. We're in real deep trouble. But we met this kid. He took us down in the metro of Moscow. We popped up God knows where. He took us to some restaurants and took us around town. And this was the greatest thing, because we were sitting and talking with Russians. And there was no one there, no minders, no one around to do anything about it. And got back up in the metro, went back to the hotel, and he said, you want to do this again? We said, absolutely. We did it again. We did it for 3 nights. Finally, we thought, we really got to do something to tell Ed Miller and Jerry Gray was with them. Because, we're pushing our luck here. We thought, well, if we do this, we could, something could happen. And we fully expected them to go, what were you 2 thinking? You just disappeared off into the wilds of Moscow and no one knew what was going on. And we thought, well, we got to tell them. so we went to Ed and Jerry, and we said, we spent the last 3 nights with this guy going around singing Moscow. Fully expecting that we were going to get like reamed out royally for doing something absolutely stupid. And so we just laid it out, this is what we've been doing the last 3 nights. And Ed sat there, and we're waiting for the hammer to fall. He said, are you going to see him again? And we said, we're supposed to see him tonight. He said, can I come too? Can I come to him? And go, we said, yes, okay, we're going to meet him at the park. And so we went down to the metro again, went to this restaurant and a bar, and we're sitting with Russians, and Ed is there, and we're going back and forth with these Russians who are going, what are these Americans doing in this neighborhood of Moscow? This is 1973. You're not supposed to do that. And we're talking about all this stuff, and we're trading stories about, well, why are you Americans in Vietnam? Well, what are you guys doing? And back and forth, and it was amazing. And the one thing I remember about the trip was we got talking about money and economy and stuff like that, and they just couldn't believe that America was that wealthy. They just, no, it's all propaganda. It doesn't mean anything. And so they said, like, for example, and they pointed to Mr. Miller's coat. It was a winter coat. This was April. And he said, like, how much does that cost? And Ed said, I can work a couple hours and buy that coat. And they didn't believe it. Absolutely would not believe that we would only work a couple hours to buy that coat, because that coat would have cost them weeks of work. And before we left to go back to the metro, to go back to our hotel before someone found us, he gave that man his coat. And I convinced the entire room that it was true. And just, these are stories that, you can't, these are life stories that, I will take to the grave. And that's the kind of guy that Ed Miller is. And it had an effect on my career. I majored in Russian studies when I got to Haverford. Joined Peace Corps and never spoke another word of Russian ever again. But I'm fluent in French and had a great career overseas, and that's what